All right, and we're back. So I'm going to add the other features that are being shown here. And you can see that I'm using the two vanishing points to create this illusion of a street kind of going off into the distance, off into the horizon line. And we'll do the same thing using the vanishing point on this side. And I've got a little stop sign over here, which I think is maybe a little bit out of proportion. I'll have to fix that. And then I've just added some, some other elements to make this look a little bit more realistic. So let's do a couple of those things. So to get the sidewalk in here, the first thing I'm going to do is draw the edge of the sidewalk that's closest. So I'm assuming the sidewalk's going right up against the building. And then I am just going to eyeball about how wide I want that sidewalk to be. Now I'm using the width of the door sort of as a gauge, because the width of the door is supposed to be representing about 3 feet. So this should be looking like it's a little bit more than that to make that about 4 feet or so. Most sidewalks are about 4 feet. So you can kind of eyeball that and just decide what you want that to be. I'll put in a construction line. And then do the same thing on the other side. Let's eyeball the width of that sidewalk. And then all I did is created a little bit of a chamfer here. Well, not chamfer, but a fillet between those two lines, just to kind of create that softened curb. Let's make that a little bit smaller radius. There we go. Just kind of do your best to make that edge happen. And then I'm going to create the depth of the sidewalk by doing the same thing. I'm just going to go through the vanishing points on both sides. Just like that. So I've got a sidewalk now. And if a lot of sidewalks, they have like a little edge to their curb. So if you wanted to show that edge here, you could do that. So that way you could have a brick actual sidewalk with a granite curb or something like that. So you've got the different designated areas to fill in and add some detail. So now let's put in the width of the road. So I'm going to make the road about that wide. And on the other side of the road we'd have some sidewalk as well. Here's the curb. We can't see this inside edge because I've gone right off of the vanishing point in this case. So we're just defining that as the other side of the road. And then right down the middle, and I'm just eyeballing this, would be our center. And we can add those dashed lines to kind of create that illusion that we've got the center of the road. And it's disappearing off into the distance. So one of the things I'm going to add to this is a few more of those trees. So I'm going to start off by putting one of those trees here, and this gives me a chance to show you how to make a tree. I think I talked with you all about how the tree height should be equal to the diameter of the canopy. So the canopy should be about as wide as the tree height. To get the right proportion. So what I usually do is kind of sketch out the boundary I want my tree canopy to be in, and then before I start drawing the tree canopy, you want to create some branches, and I use this V, the rule of V's, I guess, is when you look at a tree and how it's structured, it's got a lot of no, that's going in the wrong direction. It's got a lot of these these V shapes of the growth of the tree kind of growing in a whole bunch of different directions. And as you get closer to the top of the tree, those V's and the thicknesses of the branches get a little bit smaller, like so. But you're kind of building the bones of the tree. And then that helps you to kind of draw the portions of the canopy so it's staying within the boundaries if you want to canopy to be, but it allows you to draw some kind of more random shapes. And keep in mind too that some of the tree leaves are going to be in front of those little V's and some of them are going to be behind. And it's okay to let those kind of go behind, and don't try to round this out. Trees, when you look at them, they're not always like perfectly round, so let that just kind of happen. Now let's imagine we have trees that are all about the same length, same height, all along this road. I'm going to go to the top of that canopy and just draw a light construction line to the vanishing point. It would be nice if I had lined it up with the vanishing point. Let's do that again. That's better. And then I want to take the trunk of the tree about where I think the center is and go from my vanishing point over. And so if I want to draw another one of these trees, the trunk would be a little bit narrower. If I want to kind of get the height of the tree about the same size, kind of where these all these splits and these different branches are coming up, this is about where that would happen down here. But you see how I'm using my height information for the height of the tree and about where the tree growth is and where the base of the tree is, if they were all lined up, because a lot of roads, if there's some city planning going on, the trees might have been lined right up, and then you're going to draw those little branches and create another set of leaves and whatnot on that. But you see I'm making sure that I don't have that tree go much past that edge. Now it looks like we've got two trees that are about the same height going along down the road. So if I wanted to draw another tree, there's the other tree, and then another one. Trunk keeps getting smaller, remember. And so now we have this like beautiful tree lined street with trees planted quite organized along the edge of the street. So let's put a street on this side. Well, that's a little bit too narrow. Let's make that a bit wider. Yeah, that looks a little bit more like a street width. Whoops. There we go. And we'll put the curb in there. And I had, what I had drawn was a crosswalk going across here. So you see I'm using my vanishing point on the right, get the width of the crosswalk as it crosses that street. And then I want to establish the pattern of the crosswalk using this vanishing point here. So again, I'm just going to kind of eyeball these things. And it doesn't make any difference, I don't think you're going to notice it doesn't make too much of a difference. If we were to get really specific about this, we could probably lay out a grid and make sure that all of these crosswalk spaces are exactly the same width. But I think there's a lot to be said about just kind of eyeballing things and trusting yourself and saying, oh, that looks about right. The proportions of that are right. And it works if you're being careful about the rules. So there are crosswalk lines. And if I go in and erase the lines in between, I think I did make these a little bit too close together, but it will sell the effect more or less. And I can make corrections to it once I add ink. So there's my crosswalk. And on this side of the street, I had a stop sign, so I'm going to use this to get the stop sign height just about where I want it to be. Here's our stop sign right here. We'll say it's this height, because it should be just before the crosswalk. And what I did to draw the stop sign itself is, if you just try to sketch out as the best you can a perfect square. Then you can figure out how to put in the octagon shape. And I'm going to move this over a little bit because it doesn't look quite centered right now. So let's just move this to here and this over a little bit. We want to see the very inside edge of that piece holding up the, the post that's holding up the stop sign. So there's the 8 sides of the stop sign, or I'll be drawing the 8 sides here by just kind of sketching those in. It's a lot easier to draw it after you have the square created. And so there's our stop sign on that side of the road, and we're starting to kind of create an environment. So that's it. That just kind of gives you an idea of how we're going to be using our 2-point perspectives. You can see how often we are referencing and using the vanishing points. You will start to understand when to use one vanishing point over the other. Think about how, in which direction your lines are going. The ones that are supposed to appear parallel, these are parallel lines. They're supposed to appear parallel, but they're disappearing to that vanishing point on the left. These lines are supposed to appear parallel, and they're vanishing to the right. So think about what's the relationship of whatever object you're drawing. Is it parallel to this side of the building or that side of the building, and that will help you to decide which vanishing point you think you need to use. So in the next videos, I will show you how to start off with your floor plan and set this up and find exact positions for your vanishing points and your measuring lines.